Hello everyone, I bought something rather special. It's the Denix replica of the Colt Single Action Army, also known as the Colt SAA, Peacemaker, and it went by quite a lot of other names as well depending on the barrel length and the version. It inspired quite a lot of clones and different types of revolvers. So this is one of the guns known as the gun that won the West, and it's an important revolver in sort of history of firearms, because this is one of the first guns that actually, or at least handguns that used full cartridges rather than sort of cap and ball type, percussion caps and sort of measured out powder and a either mini ball or a sort of round ball for a musket ball. So you might have seen this in a lot of Western films. Clint Eastwood has a black one in A Fistful of Dollars, and I got this from Blades and Bows, which is a very good site. You should check them out if you don't know Blades and Bows. But you could get this from them in this version, which is nickel, which I went for, which I think was slightly more expensive than the others, but only by a couple of pounds. Or you could get the black version, or the one which is sort of just a dark grey gunmetal. So I went for the nickel one because it looks sort of, quite cowboy-y. And this is a really nice, replica to hold in your hands. Nice wooden handle, feels really solid. Metal is really solid, well built. So as I said, it's a replica. It's a non-firing replica, so basically if you did try and shoot it, I imagine it would explode if the cartridges fit in, because I think this uses its own sort of dummy cartridge, which is almost a Colt 45, but not quite. So I'll go through the gun with you. So you've got obviously the revolver itself, single action as the name implies, so when you pull the trigger it doesn't move the chamber. You have to cock the hammer every time, pull the trigger. You can move the chamber by hand, and how you would have loaded this is on the back here on the right is the bit that hides the sort of entrances to the chambers. So what you do is you'd load your cartridge in, spin to the next one, load a cartridge in, spin to the next one, till they are all loaded. Pop that in, cock the hammer, shoot, cock the hammer, shoot, cock the hammer, shoot. When you're empty, you'd slide this back again. And then on the front we have this, which is basically the round removal tool. So that would be on a spring, and what would happen is you'd push this in and this would come out, which would push the round out because they'd fit in quite tight. Then once all your rounds were out again, you could begin loading them in until you had them all in again and you're ready to shoot. So it was a lot faster to operate one of these with a proper cartridge sort of thing, even though it wasn't a swing out revolver, than it was for basically the sort of, as you've seen in my videos, the sort of old Colts, the cap and ball revolvers, where you had to essentially muzzle load it a bit like a musket 6 times. So they're very slow to reload in comparison. So what does the quality of this feels like? It's got nice weight to it. All the action feels solid. I think my 1851, the Confederate sort of Griswold and Gunson one by Denix, feels a little bit more solid than this, but that's only a little minor thing. But of course it's a different revolver, so if they're good replicas they're going to be built like the actual guns. But as I said, the Colt Single Action Army is a very famous revolver, one of the most famous guns probably in world history. As I said, one of the guns known as the gun that won the West, along with the Winchester. And yeah, great little piece of history. Now, this is where I sort of get funny about some of the rules we have in Britain, but because this is a pre-1870 gun, you can have a replica like this, no problem. You can just simply buy one. But if it was a period after that, you can't buy them. Well, there are exceptions, with the replicas if you're in sort of film production things, but it's a big thing to get into. And I've sort of ranted about that with the airsoft video before with the UK ARA. But, so the only thing that marks it really is where it says Denix made in Spain. There's no Colt logos or anything on the handle. But yeah, very nice and solid. But as said, the rules on this is a bit stupid, because if I was to, point this at somebody's head, I'm sure they wouldn't go, that's a pre-1870 gun, therefore it's probably a replica. It would still be treated like a normal firearm. So obviously you should respect it as such, in the sense of, although it won't be able to shoot anybody, don't wave it around in public, don't be an idiot with one of these. But they are very nice collectibles, and Denix firearms replicas are very well priced. I mean, I can't comment on what their more modern guns are priced at because you simply can't get them here, but For things like these revolvers, most of these are well under £100. Blades and Bows did this one, I think, somewhere between £70 and £80. I can't remember the exact price I paid for it. But, you know, if you wanted a Denix handgun in the UK, Blades and Bows do them for very good prices, and these are very nice things to look at. So it feels solid, it's really nice. Let's just sort of see if I can line it up. The camera probably can't, but there's just sort of sight picture. But yeah, really smooth, all the components on it. And yeah, so I might do more videos on this if you're interested, but this is the Denix Colt Single Action Army, also known as the Peacemaker.